Welcome to the Boat Buyer's Secret Weapons series. I am your host, Captain Matt, and today we're doing a pontoon review on the Sylvan 822 LZ Mirage. Let's take a look at the numbers. This is a 22-foot, 10-inch boat overall. The beam is the 96-inch, so an 8-foot beam, which is a little narrower. Most pontoons are 8.5. This is one of the smaller pontoons that's got a narrower beam. The max horsepower 115, dry weight just over 2,000 pounds, of fuel capacity of 21 gallons. The tube diameter of 23 inches. The industry standard is 25 on most pontoon builders. Because this is only an 8-foot boat, 8-foot beam boat, they've gone with the smaller 23-inch tubes, which don't give as much buoyancy and flotation as the 25-inch. The tube gauge, 0.08 mils. And the Sylvan, I say, is a mid-level boat, but this is definitely their value model, and you can tell that based on the beam and the tube size are two indications. So let's take a look at Sylvan as a company. They were started in 1940s near Sylvan Lake in Indiana. Then they were bought by the former owner of Starcraft, Harold Schrock, in the 70s. Smokercraft now owns them. The other brands that they own, pontoon brands, Starcraft, Sylvan, and Sunchaser. We've done some reviews on all of those, as well as some aluminum fishing boats, the Smokercraft, American Angler, and Starweld. And they are currently held, the Smokercraft company is privately owned by the Schrock and Smoker family, with Doug Smoker and Phil Smoker, the head of the company. Doug's the president, and Phil is the VP of sales as of right now. And they're built in New Paris, Indiana, where most of the Indiana in that area is where most pontoons and RVs are built. A lot of aluminum manufacturing in that area. One of the things that they focus on is their revolutionary planing technology tubes, their RPT tubes, which they came out with in the mid or so 2000s, and that is a patented design. Looking at their warranty, they do have a limited lifetime warranty on the hull and the structure of the boat, and a 6-year warranty on the components. So let's talk about that a little bit. The limited lifetime warranty is on the plywood decking, the tubes, the transom, so the decking down. That is from manufacturer defect. It is not from improper use or maintenance. So something to look at there. What is the fine print? 6-year limited engine or limited warranty on the carpet, the upholstery, the vinyl on most models. So you want to check and make sure that the model you're looking at is covered with that. And it is transferable to the second owner. A couple of questions when I look at warranties. One, is it prorated, or is it 100% coverage through the whole life of that warranty? Two, what's the cost to transfer it if you don't plan on keeping it for the full 6 years, and that's something that's important to you. And then parts and labor included. With the warranty, there is the language of the warranty and the marketing of the warranty, and then there is the actual reality of the warranty. So I call it the spirit of the warranty. Hey, if you say you're going to cover things, are you really going to cover? Are there a bunch of weasel clauses in there? So it's something that I suggest you talk to your dealer. Have a frank conversation with them about how is warranty claims handled, what's their relationship, and what's their experience been like. How long have they carried the manufacturer? Because it's not only the warranty from the manufacturer, but it is the relationship between the dealer and the manufacturer that's going to impact how much are they going to go to bat for you, how good of a relationship do they have, how clean are their warranty claims when they work with the manufacturer, because they have to send pictures and they've got to do a lot of things to get a warranty claim approved. And then how much are they paid? Are they paid their full shop rate for warranty work? Are they paid a discounted rate, which is never a good thing? So a few things, additional things to ask on those warranties. Now, this is the actual boat that we looked at, the Sylvan 822 LZ Mirage pontoon. And if we look at some of the marketing from Sylvan is 5 generations family owned, unbeatable leading warranty. That it is definitely not the best warranty in the market just on the surface of it. Bennington and some others have a 10-year warranty, bow to stern. So that's a little bit off in my opinion. They do offer different engine manufacturers, different floor plans, and they are a member of the National Marine Manufacturers Association, and have gotten some service awards. So let's actually look at the boat that I inspected in person at the boat show. So if you take a look, you can see that narrow beam. You can kind of see those are a little tighter together, but you've got your L shape, or your couches up front with the rear lounge. You've got the dual captain's chairs, which if you've watched any of my videos with this is my favorite layout. We've done over 50 pontoon reviews, and this continues to be my favorite layout for most family people that are not into fishing. And then we'll take a look at a little bit better angle at those seats. A pretty good quality of upholstery. We'll take a look at that later. A little cutout there for the cup holders. They've got some contrast with the different upholsteries. This seat bench is a little bit narrow when you sit on it, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. Another angle here, you can see the helm. You've got an access port right there, which is storage for cooler, maybe towels or snacks. Not a ton of cup holders on this boat. As you're looking around, you'll notice that. The 2 captain's chairs, and then we'll get back to these rear-facing lounge seats, and then you've got a spot for your table. So these are the wrong direction. Brought to you by Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon. We've got over 100 videos on the channel, soon to be over 200, over 1 million views. You can grab your free Boat Buyer's Toolkit. We've got articles on the website, boatbuyersecretweapon.com, and of course the podcast if you want to check that out. But like I said, let's take a look at the upholstery. What I like to do looking at the upholstery is just kind of pinch it, get a sense for the texture, the thickness of the upholstery, and how well those seams are sewed together. Now you'll see that Sylvan does a double stitch on their upholstery. That textured vinyl, you can see it's got a little texture to it, still double stitched there, which is pretty nice. That's what I'm looking for. And if we look, you've got the double stitches. That's a pretty tight seam right there. So that's good quality. It was nice quality upholstery. And I thought that was very well done. And then we take a look at the rear-facing lounge seats. Again, not super wide on the seating. Again, this is their more value model. Although the quality was pretty good. I was impressed with it. And then you've got storage up under all these seats. But again, if you look, that storage is a little bit smaller because that seat hangs out over the edge, which means that storage box underneath is a little bit smaller. Another look at the table stop where you can put your table leg in. Now, it's right in the middle. It's raised up. In my opinion, that's a little bit of a toe stubber maybe to get a little toe caught in there. I don't know. It's a little thing, but it is something that I noticed as I was looking at it, that it's kind of raised up on that area. Now, looking at the helm, a nice fiberglass helm. This is the helm that they use on a lot of their models, so you'll see this on a lot of the Smokercraft boats. But a nice wood grain paneling, some spots to put electronics. You've got the gauges that you really need on a pontoon, your speedometer, with the 115 max horsepower. Even if I didn't have a speedometer, I wouldn't be worried. A tachometer, a fuel gauge, and a trim gauge. And then you've got some additional blanks here if you want to add some additional electronics. So maybe a depth finder, a temperature gauge or something like that. You've got your JL audio head unit there, a spot for a cigarette lighter, and then another little blank area if there's anything you wanted to put in there. And then your switches for your horn, for your navigation, anchor light, for your stereo, and those types of things. And this is a tilt wheel, which is pretty nice. Hit that little lever right there, and that tilts up and down. And then your throttle control, a pretty comfortable setup. Now, when I did sit at this, there's not a ton of room for your feet and your legs to face straight forward. I'm a little bit bigger guy, 6'2", wear size 12 shoes. So I usually am going to kick my legs out to the side at about a 15, 20 degree angle and just stick them out into the middle of the pontoon when I drive. If you like to face forward, just sit in the seats. How does it feel? Is everything comfortable for you? Because everybody's a little bit different, but that is something I noticed when I was sitting at the helm. Now, I mentioned that little area for a cooler. You've got some storage there. It is a fiberglass hatch there, and you can see it. It's a finished fiberglass on the inside of the door as well. One thing I did notice, there's really no rubber seal around it, which means that it might rattle over time. I usually like to see some kind of a gasket around there that's going to keep it from rattling, but that's just a little thing on a model like this. Now, this was a little bit disappointing. This is under the helm, and you can see the wiring and everything there. You know, these are coming off the stereo head unit, so it's common to have those extra plugs for, you can add speakers and amps, so that's nice. But this wasn't dressed back and as clean in there as I like to see in a brand new boat. It just tells me that, hey, their attention to detail on this one, hey, it's not as clean as I like. You don't even have the power steering pumps or anything coming off here. So there's just something I noticed and wanted to point that out. Again, we do have the U.S. Boat Expo coming up. As you're searching, we've got over 20 interviews with industry experts. If you're looking at buying any of these types of boat, maybe something you want to check out, usboatexpo.com. And back to the Sylvan here, taking a look at the hinges. You can see it's got some pretty good hinges with the little extra flip-flop that's going to pull forward. Now, I mentioned that those seat boxes were a little bit narrow. You can see that the canvas is in there, but because that seat box is narrow and the seat actually sticks out a little bit, they've done this, which is a good thing. They put this little Z bracket there, which is going to clip on the back of the seat so that when you're sitting on and your butt's a little bit forward, it's not going to flip that seat over. And that's a nice thing, although what I'd really like to see is that seat base come out a little bit more, give you a little more storage. But overall, that's a good fix, so you don't have a problem with that seat flipping up on you. A real nice 4-step stainless steel ladder. You can see I like to look at how wide the grips are. This is a average ladder that you'll find on a pontoon, but as you're pulling yourself up, if you're a little bit heavier, not quite as nimble, maybe a little older, having a little bit wider grip on the railings makes a big difference. You'll see some of them. I did a Sun Tracker review earlier yesterday, and it was about 2 inches narrower maybe. Doesn't seem like much, but it does make a big difference when you're the height and the width of these little candy cane arms. It does make a difference. So let's take a look at the Bimini top. You can see it's a pretty common gauge of Bimini top. I like to look at the hardware on the Bimini and how are things put together. Are they plastic caps on ends, or are they stainless steel? Are they using a heavy gauge aluminum, or is it a thinner, lighter aluminum? That's going to tell you how well the boat's going to hold up for the long haul. Looking at back towards the engine, this rated for a 115, but this has a 70 on it. You can see the built-in fuel cell, which in my opinion is fine. You're seeing that a lot more on the pontoons especially, where it's just an easier method to do it. It keeps that tank at a low level. It does put the weight all the way in the back, which isn't great a lot of times, but it's a nice, easy way to do it, and that's perfectly fine. But let's take a look at the actual construction of that engine pod, which this is where most of the torque and the pressure is going to be with that 70. Now, it's a nice thick gauge aluminum. They've got this bend, which is going to give it a little bit more strength and sturdiness, a little more durability. But looking at this weld, just a little bit sloppy weld, you got to remember that on most pontoons, except for a few of the top largest pontoon manufacturers, all of these welds are done manually by hand. So each one's a little bit different. And it's an individual that's just welding these units all day long. And, what I like to look for is how consistent and smooth are the welds. They like to say in the welding business, I guess, laying dimes. So if you think about, they want to lay dimes, they want to lay it all the way across here, just a dime over a dime over a dime, and just maybe halfway overlapped is what it would look like. And that's kind of the perfect weld in the aluminum welding world. So you can see this weld's a little bit sloppy, and the concern is that over time it'll start cause cracking and start rusting out and having some issues there. Now with a 70 on this boat, yeah, hey, you're probably not going to be out in the super big chop going wide open throttle. This isn't the type of boat that you would get. So not as clean as I would like, but for the boat that it is, it's okay. Another thing about the construction is when you build a pontoon boat, you've got the pontoons, you've got welded to that is an M bracket. You can kind of see how that looks like a little bit of an M, and then that's bolted or screwed to the risers or cross members or beams with the plywood on top of that, and the plywood is then attached with either screws or bolts to that cross member. So that's how they're built. Now, a couple of things in the build is the stronger the construction is going to have more of this full length M bracket all the way down that full tube. Now, that's most important when you start and put bigger horsepower on, over 150. This is only rated to 115. So it's got for about a third of the length, you've got a full length. And the reason that full length section is important is because it's going to allow less flex, right? It's welded down, and it's gonna allow for less flex. And then they go to what looks to me about 24-inch on center. Every 24-inch, you've got another beam and another little section of M bracket, and you've got one on this side of the tube and one on the outside of the tube, and then you've got it on the other tube as well. So that's what I'm looking at here on the construction of these. It's okay for this level of pontoon with the max horsepower rating of 115, but I prefer to see the cross members a little bit closer together, a little bit longer length of this M bracket, preferably going all the way down. Just something to consider on this one. But again, with the max horsepower of 115, probably not a huge deal. And again, another look at that ladder. It's almost that full width of the 23-inch tube on this, and works out pretty well. If you're serious about shopping, when you sign up at the expo, you will get a free downloadable copy of the Secret Weapon Toolkit, which is just designed to help you so you can inspect boats the same way I'm going through and know what to look for. Another thing when I look at the construction of a pontoon is where are the cleats? Are these cleats something that are going to pull out 5, 7, 10 years down the line? So you'll look, this cleat is mounted inside of the rub rail, which I prefer it to be mounted on the rub rail. It's just going to make it a little bit stronger, but it does require that this finish piece and rub rail is a little bit wider so it can be mounted on there and have plenty plywood decking and rub rail to hold it secure. But it's a nice stainless steel cleat, and then it is back mounted with a nut and washer. I couldn't tell, you can kind of see the angle there. I couldn't tell if that was a nylon locking nut or not, but my gut tells me it probably is. And then you'll also see a little bit better view of that beam, and that is the hat channel, which is the stronger of the ways to do the cross member. You can do a C channel, a Z channel, or a hat channel, and I do like the hat channel. It gives you a little bit more durability quality. You can bolt it on both sides of that kind of the brim of the hat, if you will, and then you've got a nice surface area to mount the plywood to on the top section of the hat. So I think that is a well done piece, and you can kind of see the thickness of it. Right there is probably a good angle, a pretty heavy-duty piece of extruded aluminum. So what are the numbers on this boat? Well, this boat has the Yamaha 70 on it, and was $29,085 at the show. They had no discounts. They had nothing. So that was the price. They don't have rigging or dealer freight charges, so I'm not sure how accurate that number is, if there's going to be something added to it, but this is the number. So this is the number as the boat sits without a trailer. This was brought to you by Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon, the U.S. Boat Expo, which you can check out. Subscribe to the channel for more of these video boat reviews. YouTube's recommended some videos for you. If you liked the video, if you found this valuable, smash that like button, ask a question, tell me your thoughts if you own a Sylvan, and remember, life truly is better on a boat.